The Optimist, a touching new film starring Stephen Lang and Elsie Fisher, hits theaters March 11th. And Stephen joins me now to unpack this emotional film. Good morning, Stephen. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me.
So, Stephen, your character harbors the fact that they were a Holocaust survivor for most of their lives. So, I'm curious, what's the emotional baggage that comes with portraying this character and realizing that this is something that people were real life walking with, and in a lot of ways, even still translates to today?
Wow, I think it's difficult to really to fully understand or appreciate the dire trauma that Herbert Heller went through. I think that's evidenced by the fact that it took him so many years to really process it and to be able to come out and speak about it. Part of his great sys- and the trauma I'm speaking of is the Holocaust, and he as a young boy managed to survive the death camp at Auschwitz when his family was where his family was murdered. He was able to do so through an innate sense of hope and optimism and an embrace of life. And he just absolutely refused to allow the hatred, the vile racism, and that just was the currency of life in this place to overwhelm him. You know, he kept that kernel of hope alive within himself and was able to survive there and to actually go on and thrive. But the way he did it, it was by not speaking about it, by
Mhm.
really repressing these hard, traumatic truths that he had lived through, suppressing them for many years. And he didn't tell anyone, didn't tell his wife what he had
Yeah.
gone through. It was only when he became an older man that he was able to do so.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the most beautiful parts about this film is the way we kind of see him become vulnerable about this is this kind of unexpected connection he makes with a young teen. And so I'm curious, what do you think this movie represents or maybe says about unexpected bonds or connections?
That we're there, we unexpectedly, in the most unexpected places, we find what we need to move forward, to embrace life. It seems to me that we that we're on when they begin speaking, he begins sharing his trauma with this, as you say, with this young woman, Abby, played so beautifully by Elsie Fisher. He senses her vulnerabilities just as she senses his vulnerabilities. And so, possibly just to deflect from having to tell their own truths, they want to hear from the other person. But that changes as they enable each other to to speak frankly and truthfully about the traumas that they've gone through, you know. And it's a good thing. It's a useful thing for us to
Yeah,
have.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to expand on that just a second here. Do you feel that this movie kind of speaks to the fact that we can learn from other generations, the young learning from the older and, vice versa?
I think it does speak to that. It's a direct statement saying that not only can we do this, but it's really important that we do this. It's important in this case because the Holocaust, people who survived the Holocaust are becoming fewer and far between at this point, just because of age, because they die off,
Yeah.
and these are stories. This narrative is important to remember so that it can never happen again. And of course, I think we must recognize that there are people in our society who would minimize what the Holocaust was, or who would deny it altogether. And that's a shocking sin and a lie to
Yeah.
do that. So we
Yeah.
can't allow that.
Optimus is in theaters on March 11th. Thanks so much, Steven.
Thank you.